Hi everyone, it's Abigail King and welcome to week 2 of the Wellness Revolution series all about nutrition. So now that you understand the gut microbiome and why it's so important to nurture the good bacteria that live in our gut, let's dive into the specifics. So did you know that 80% of disease is driven by our environment and behavior, and it's not just the genes we're born with. So this means that what we do on a daily basis to influence our health matters. We have the power to control our health. Most deaths in the United States are preventable, and they're related to what we eat. The standard American diet, or SAD as it's abbreviated, is the top cause of death in America. The standard American diet is high in processed foods, refined grains, saturated fats, and animal products, and very low in fiber. This is the diet that turns on those pathways that lead to disease. So they turn on those genes that promote disease. So let's take a look at cancer, for example, which is the leading cause of death in America. So there was a study done in the Journal of Nutrition and Cancer that looked at breast cancer cell death or cancer cell clearance before and after implementing the interventions of exercise and a plant-based diet rich in fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, and legumes. So this was done by dropping the blood of each group on a petri dish of cancer cells. They looked at the petri dish and saw which had less cancer cells. So the first group, after 14 years of following the standard American diet, cancer cell clearance was essentially non-existent. Now, after 14 years of the standard American diet with just adding in exercise daily, this was exercise done every day, 7 days a week, this cancer cell clearance increased, which is good news. Now adding in exercise with a plant-based diet just for 2 weeks. So this is a diet low in fat, high in fiber, and the cancer cell death doubled of that of just the exercise group. So why is that? How can within just 2 weeks you can dramatically improve your cancer defenses in such a short time? A plant-based diet decreases the cancer-promoting growth hormone that is responsible for cancer initiation, growth, spread, and this hormone is called insulin-like growth factor, IGF1. So what's been studied to increase IGF1 levels? That's animal proteins, which is the majority of the standard American diet, which kind of makes sense now that cancer is the leading cause of death in America and our diet is full of animal products and processed foods. So what's exciting is that just after 2 weeks of a plant-based diet, you can lower these IGF1 levels, and levels will continually to decrease the longer you are on a plant-based diet. So it's our gut microbes that are also capable of regulating this IGF1. So I hope I didn't lose you with all of this, but it all goes back to what we were feeding the bacteria in our gut. It is the promotion of the growth of the good guys, or good bacteria. So I hope it's becoming clear how all of this is tying together. So let's back up and talk about how to implement a plant-based diet. So the healthiest diet is one that maximizes the intake of whole plant-based foods and minimizes the intake of processed and animal-based foods. So focusing on eating an abundance of unprocessed plant foods closest to how they come in nature. This includes whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, as well as herbs and spices. So these unprocessed plant foods have more protective nutrients such as fiber, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, whereas processed foods tend to have these disease-promoting factors that turn on those genes that promote disease. Think of unprocessed as nothing bad added and nothing good taken away. So when you're at the grocery store, stop and ask yourself these 3 questions when you pick up an item. Number 1, what are the ingredients? Number 2, are these ingredients nutritious? And number 3, where do these ingredients come from? So your diet should include an abundance of these 10 food groups: beans, berries, other fruits, cruciferous veggies, greens and other vegetables, flax seeds, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, and whole grains. So I recommend incorporating each of these food groups on a daily basis, and that's why I made it so specific. So refer to the kitchen clean out handout and also the handout that goes over how to incorporate all of these categories into your diet. So eating a plant-based diet automatically ensures that you're getting a lot of fiber in your diet. And fiber is the preferred food of our microbes, and fiber is only in plant foods. So if you remember from week 1, it is the microbes in our gut that control digestion, our access to nutrients, our immune system, hormone balance, metabolism, weight balance, our mood, our brain function, and the expression of our genetics. So fiber is what keeps those bugs in our gut strong and more capable of doing their job. And they reward us by producing short-chain fatty acids, and there's 3 of those: butyrate, acetate, and propionate, which have healing effects throughout the body. So in the colon, these short-chain fatty acids reverse leaky gut. They rebuild that intestinal lining and directly prevent colon cancer. They optimize our immune system and get it set up the way it's supposed to work. That means they help to prevent autoimmune disease, allergic reactions, and keep our immune system strong to fight infections. These short-chain fatty acids also lower cholesterol and reverse type 2 diabetes. They activate our satiety hormone so we don't overeat and help to control our weight balance. They spread throughout our body, through our bloodstream, with healing anti-inflammatory effects. They go to the brain and repair the blood-brain barrier and can cross that barrier, and studies have suggested that they help prevent Alzheimer's disease. And the way you get them is by getting optimal fiber in your diet. So a huge bonus of eating a plant-based diet abundant in unprocessed plant foods is the high nutrient density and low calorie density, meaning you can eat a large quantity, get a lot of nutrition, vitamins, minerals, and not have to worry about the amount of calories you're consuming. So I love this graphic from the Forks Over Knives website, and if you haven't seen the documentary yet, I highly recommend watching it. So calorie density is simply a measure of how many calories are given in a weight of food. So a food high in calorie density has a large number of calories in a small weight of food. So a good example of this would be oil and cheese, that's shown in the stomach to the left. And then the opposite would be a food low in calorie density that has much fewer calories in the same weight of food. So an example of this would be to the stomach to the far right, that's full of whole plant foods. So by eating a plant-based diet, you will increase the amount of food on your plate while decreasing your overall caloric intake. It's the simplest way to lose weight or manage your weight naturally and manage your weight for a lifetime. And at the same time, you'll be optimizing your overall nutrient intake. So the last thing I want to touch on in this week's video is mindful eating, because this is where digestion begins. Mindful eating is the practice of looking at your food, smelling it, and being present before you start to eat. So digestion starts with your sight. We need to be able to see our food so our brains understand that we're eating. We need to switch our thoughts to be excited and grateful for the food that we eat so that it fully nourishes us. So the 3 tips I want to give for you to practice mindful eating is: number 1, make sure you are looking at your food, smelling it, and getting excited about eating this food that's going to nourish your body. Number 2, make sure you are eating slow and chewing a lot. This ensures that you're really doing everything you can from the start to break down your food so that your stomach doesn't have these huge food molecules to digest. And then also this will help to prevent gas and bloating downstream, because when your food is chewed up really small and the stomach enzymes are really working in full gear, it'll help to break down the food as best as possible, and that way you can also get the most nutrition out of your food. So you'll really absorb all of those vitamins and minerals out of your food. And the last tip I want to give you to help really mindfully eat is to make sure that you're not chugging a bunch of water while you eat and drinking alcohol, because that will definitely deplete the enzymes in your stomach, and we need to keep those in abundance when we are working on optimizing our digestion. So remember, the goal is progress over perfection. So what you ate at that birthday party, the cake, the ice cream, or that pizza last Friday night, those special occasions are really insignificant compared to what you eat day in and day out, because your body has a remarkable ability to recover from those sporadic insults. So focus on crowding out that less healthful food options with the more healthful plant-based foods. And also, I want to leave you with some resources to check out after this video. I love nutritionfacts.org, and that's run by Dr. Michael Greger. I also love Dr. Will Bolsowitz. He is the Gut Health MD on Instagram, and he's also the author of Fiber Fueled. He's a Charleston GI doctor, so check out his page and his book. And lastly, check out the blue zones. So those are the areas in the world where the people live the longest. They have the highest population of centenarians, the 100-year-old people. So check out what those people do on a daily basis to really live the longest life that they can. So thanks so much for joining me for this week 2, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.